writers. She is an internationally renowned dancer, teacher, and choreographer. She learned Bharatanatyam under Guru KJ Sarasa, and she learned Kuchipudi from Guru Vempati Chinna Satyam, and she has the distinction of being the first student of KJ Sarasa and one of the first students of Guru Vempati Chinna Satyam. She also learned Abhinaya from Kalanidhi Narayanan, and after being a very famous performer, Kuchipudi performer in Chennai, she moved to Texas, United States, where she established the Anjali Center for Performing Arts in 1975, one of the first Indian dance schools to teach Indian dance, and the first dance school in Texas. She also established Samskriti Society for Indian Performing Arts in 1994, and she has served as a dance instructor at Rice University from 2002. As a performer, teacher, and a member of several organizations and committees, she has contributed significantly to the practice and promotion of Indian dance forms in Houston. She is the author of 2 dance books, and she has received numerous awards and many certificates of appreciation. I'm just giving you a tip of the iceberg here. In 2011, April 29 was declared as Rathna Kumar Day for her contribution to enhance the Houston art scene, and she was the first NRI to receive the Sangeet Natak Academy Award for 2010 for her contribution to Kuchipudi dance. Welcome to Arattarangetram. We are very happy for you. You are in our show today.
Thank you. It's an honor, and it sounds very
welcome, Akka.
Thank you. Pleasure.
So in today's show, maybe I should let you speak for a few minutes here about your training and or like what you feel about dance and.
I think of dance and music and all as gifts from God. And I started formally learning from the age of 4 years, 4 months and 4 days, the day I had my Aksharabhyasam, because my mother decided I should also learn music and dance. And she was very ambitious for me. My mother thought that I should really, she wanted to learn dance. She was not allowed. At that time, it was not considered a done thing for a woman from a girl from a good family to learn dance. And so her dream was unfulfilled, and so she was so happy when she had a daughter, because she decided the day I was born that I'd be a dancer. And I'm very happy to say that I didn't let my mother down, because I could have learned it and maybe pursued it for a few years and just given up. But I realized it was when I was in France with Ram Gopal and with Saroja Khokar, great dancer, and with the son of Kantimati, the Devadasi, Kubernath Tanjorkar, who was teaching in Baroda at the MS University at that time. When I was in the midst of all these people, and from morning till evening, all that we were doing was either dancing or talking about dance. We only went and met dancers and musicians and painters. I realized this extraordinary gift my mother had given me of being able to dance. If she had not dreamt for me, I would never be dancing. And it was then that I also realized that this was more important to me in my life than anything else, because I injured both my knees while I was dancing. I was dancing like 10 to 12 hours a day. And the weather was very cold in France. I had never been in any cold place in my life. And dancing on cement floors with bare feet for so many hours a day. Both Saroja and I ended up in the hospital. Both of us almost lost our knees, and I have permanent knee damage from them. And at that time, I thought that I said, if I cannot dance anymore, I don't know if I can live. Because there was a raison d'etre, they say, that your reason to be. What was my reason to be? And it was all dance. And if I could not dance, it was like I could not breathe anymore. And I said, no matter what, I will rehabilitate myself. I have to dance again. And I just went about it in a very religious manner. till I got well and I was able to dance again. And I think I danced with so much more involvement after that episode because it was like the apocalypse. It was like a revelation. I didn't know what dance meant to me until then. It was in my early 20s that this sudden realization came to me that my dance was more important than myself. So, that's.
I think, Akka, you not only did you not let your mother down, but you made her really, really proud. I mean, your achievements speak for themselves, and I think we are all very honored to know you, and so I'm sure she must be very proud of you. So
yeah, this is like another Sudha Chandran's story, maybe a little less popular, not very well known. Hopefully, people will get to.
I didn't go through as traumatic.
Yes.
Experience as Sudha, and she is a very brave person. I saw her perform and I almost cried. I thought, what a great person she is to overcome, such a tremendous physical handicap. But I didn't have to do that much. I still have knee pain, very bad, and I still have a bad back. But unless somebody shoots me, I'm not going to stop dancing.
I guess that is the what you were saying. The reason that. The reason to be, or the mantra that you had when you were facing the difficulties, I guess that is something that all probably dancers need to have, something like a mantra that, even in the face of any hurdles or anything, they keep doing what they really love.
Oh, absolutely. I so many times I wonder when I hear about all these addictions, people becoming alcoholics or drug addicts and all that. I keep thinking, why can't they have an addiction like music or dance? For me, dance is my addiction. Like 7 days of the week I teach, and majority of my sleeping hours or waking hours, I think dances. My mother tells me that I keep on moving my feet in my sleep. She says, God, stop, and several times she's held my toes. But she says, my feet keep moving. And I said, maybe I must be having some kind of a nervous tick. But I know that, whether I'm awake or asleep, I seem to be only having songs going in my head, thinking, okay, I can dance to this, I can dance to that. And thinking, oh my God, am I getting obsessive? Something wrong with me. I'm not normal like other people. Then I think, okay, this kind of abnormalcy is fine, I'm happy.
Yeah, I think someone once told me that it's very rare and very lucky if you know what your passion in life is. And sometimes when things are taken away from you, that is when you realize the full meaning of what it means to you. So even though everybody starts learning dance when they're you can connect to it with as much passion as you have. So
my oldest son said that to me one time. He said, you and Kedar, that's my younger son, who graduated from the Berklee College of Music in Boston, and is a musician and is totally, for him, music is the breath of his life. So he said, you and Kedar are so lucky, Mom, because you have your dance and he has his music. Dad and I don't have that kind of passion in our lives. I think we're missing something. I said, you need to create a passion too. Pursue something which becomes a passion. I don't know at age 4 if I knew what was a passion. I was just put into dance because my mother thought so. And I was very beautiful and I enjoyed it. And I just did it because I had fun. And then it became like lots of fun because I used to perform. I was acting in movies and then people said, oh. And then I thought, oh, I love it. I was preening myself and I loved all the attention. It was great. And so it started off as something fun. But it became something more important. I keep telling my older son, I said, why don't you? Because he's a great drummer. And everybody in my family sings or does something to do, something to do with music. And I said, why don't you pursue that, at least, it's an outlet for you. And maybe one day it will become something, it will become more important than this. He likes to write. So I said, okay, fine, pursue that. Everything can become a passion, depending on how you pursue it. How you allow it to grip you.
I think the words you just spoke are probably something we all have to keep reminding ourselves, that at every every point of time. And yeah, these things are important, and that too uh, uh, coming from a person who has seen, who has experienced, and been through all this is like probably very important for the current and the future generations of dancers.
Yeah, I think it's good that, I mean, you explained that, your mom sort of, pushed you into dance and then you sort of grew to love it. I think it's good that parents are, becoming more encouraging of, their kids, doing more artistic things, whether it's, doing music or dance or even writing, which I still think is very creative. So, yeah, I think that's nice.
I encourage my son, my older son, to write because he writes beautifully, and then now he's actually in the process of finishing a book.
wow.
Hopefully he'll find publishers. So everything, any kind of I think artistic outlet is. I personally feel that it uplifts the soul, and I think it makes people better persons.
Yeah.
Any form of art, whether it's writing or whether it's music, dance. If you cannot do them yourself, even the fact if you appreciate it, then you are half an artist there. Just having the capacity to appreciate makes you so much more involved with these art forms, and I think that also is a very enriching experience, and I think it's very good for the soul.
So we'll go to the first segment of today's episode. It is Madhana's segment of, what do you call it, Madhana?
I call it Youtubeaanubhava, Makka, like Rasanubhavam, what happens with a live concert.
Who doesn't watch much YouTube, so forgive me if I'm not very knowledgeable.
Oh,
No,
that's okay. I think
YouTube
being in
media.
Houston, which is like a hotbed for all the touring artists, I don't think you have to watch YouTube videos. All the artists themselves come there live, so
Yeah.
it only makes sense why you don't.
So should I play the
try
video?
Yeah. So today we decided to watch a couple of videos of Padma Bhushan Alarmel Valli's performances. So we'll take a look at the first segment and then come back for a discussion.
We just presented her in Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's why we chose her. And we heard that she's one of your favorite artists of all time. So also that's why.
Yeah.
Um,
So
Well, I find her very sprightly. There's something so alive and vibrant about her.
Yes,
She just comes on stage and there is, she like possesses the stage.
There's magic.
And I think, dancers need to, then you sit up and you say, I gotta watch this. I cannot afford to take a nap. So this is, she's the kind of artist who, makes
Draws you.
makes you keep alert and awake and watch her because you want to absorb everything she's doing. And I enjoy everybody's dance. I'm not one of those people who, I don't have very eclectic taste as such. I love all dance and I watch everybody. I love a lot of things that Priyadashini Govind does, Malavika Sarikai. I like the perfection of their movements. I like so many dancers for so many things. I love Briga's expression. I've known her since the day she had her Arangetram.
Oh.
And I have the great love for her as a person and as a dancer. So, and Valli is, yes, she is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I think Valli is also Madhana and Raghu's absolute favorites.
Yeah, the Raghu and me are like die-hard fans of Valli. There's a saying in Tamil, "Murthy Sirusanalum Kirti Perusu." So it's like that when she comes on stage. She's not very tall or very built, but how she covers the entire stage and her energy and how she holds the audience is simply brilliant. And and how she paints images of her ideas of what she thinks in mind. She just brings it live in front of our eyes. And in terms of both her Abhinayam and in terms of the music that she chooses, I think she's an artist that.
Consummate artist, really. She's a very consummate artist. I think she's a great dancer.
So,
Yeah.
so Madhana, tell us about this particular video we just played.
This is one of my, I think one of the first videos that I saw on YouTube of Valli. What I liked was her feet movement are recorded separately using a separate mic. I thought that was like a very special thing about this video, because in most of the YouTube videos in live orchestra, when you're seeing a live concert, you can listen to her feet and all that, but most of the videos that is lost. So here, that was like my favorite aspect about the video.
So you mean they recorded the salangai like just the audio separately and then? Okay.
No.
Actually,
They had a separate mic for her feet.
Okay.
They do that in the Doordarshan programs. When we perform for the Doordarshan, they have a separate microphone for the feet, so it catches the sounds of the bells.
Yeah, I think a lot of Kathak dancers insist on microphones on stage. So these days it's become a little more standard in North India to have microphones on stage, irrespective of what style of dance is being performed.
Now they're doing that in Chennai too. I noticed in several places they keep.
Yeah, they do it when they have a video recording of the concert. They have a mic for the feet. Another thing I like about Valli is her Natyarambam. I always aspire when I do a Natyarambam. I look at the mirror and see, okay, is it at least 10% of what Valli has? Then I'm happy. So every time when she brings her hand like this, it comes with that force, with that grip. There's no compromise. Even if it comes like 100 times in an entire concert, there's no compromise even once.
That is true. Yeah, that probably is trademark of Valli's dance.
True.
I think what I enjoy the most in Valli's dance is even though her spirit is very innocent and very young. Like a lot of dancers, when they are young, they have a certain innocence, but as they become older, they somehow, in the name of toning down, somehow their energy levels are up there, but yet the spirit is a little missing. It becomes a little too plastic or a little too mature for energy to be, vibrant on stage. So I think she, having performed for, I don't know, 5 decades or so, she still has her very childlike innocence and spirit alive in her, which is like commendable. So
Yeah,
What I really enjoy about these dancers is that, like within when they're dancing pure dance, is that they have, such personality. And Alarmel Valli, in like the first 10 seconds when she's doing that, the look in the eyes, it's just so much personality, and it really comes across as very youthful and very, energetic.
True. So should we go on to the next video?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
this one is on Abhinaya, is it?
Yeah, this one is showcasing her Abhinayam. This is a small segment from one of her Sangam poetry, which she is very famous for. It's from the Purana. Hello.
Purananuru.
Yeah,
It's from the Purananuru, and it's an elegy on a fallen warrior. A woman, she laments about the death of a warrior, and then recollects the past from the viewpoint of a mother. So I think we'll take a look at the video and come back and talk more about it.
I
So like when we were earlier discussing about this video, we found how she uses the hand as a link to the past and the present. The lady, the woman who is lamenting about the warrior, she catches the hand of the dead warrior and then she recollects how the mother would have played with the warrior and with by catching his hands. So I think it is a very wonderful segment, and how she just conjures images of all the ideas that she has in her mind. I think it's simply brilliant, and how the music accompanied her, how she makes the best use of music.
She has a tremendous sense of musicality. Valli also studied music. I think it shows how important knowledge of music is in dance. Because if you have no sense of music, no appreciation for music, then your dancing suffers. Because I think it's so integral to, and if you're choreographing something and there's no music to some composition you picked up, for you to have an idea of what kind of ragam would be appropriate for that mood, you need to have some sense of music, some understanding, some knowledge, at least some basic knowledge of ragas and other things. And Valli actually studied music from Mukta Brinda.
Mukta and Brinda, yeah.
So, she learned from the best. Those women were legends. And so she's acquired this great musicality, not just learning, a lot of people can learn, but doesn't mean that they are musical or they have a sense for it. But she has that. So, I think because I have seen her at work and she actually tells them what kind of music she wants. And one of her best singers was Prema Ramamurthy from Hyderabad, who worked with her for decades. And
I think until very recently, Prema Ramamurthy was singing for...
Prema's health has not been good, so she had to stop. She started having throat problems.
So now I think Rajkumar Bharti is helping her.
Yeah, he's choreographed some. He's composed some
music. And Nandini Anand Sharma has been singing.
Yeah. I mean the one that you were talking about, like how she, because of her music knowledge, she incorporates that in a dance. I think a glimpse of that I remember seeing in Lasya Kavya, where she tells the vocalist, like, put that briga here, and how that will be visually seen as like a flower blossoming. And
I think she's doing Kalidasa's Ritu Samharam. She's showing that Salilam Sa Padmam, and she said, I want this briga for Salilam, and I'm showing the font in the lotus. I want this. I think Lasya Kavya moved me at at different levels. I got the DVD and I bought the DVD 1 month back, and when I saw it, I started liking Valli as an artist and as a person all the more if it was possible. Am I echoing?
No. So I think the one thing that I noticed in this particular Abhinaya piece was that even though this was the situation was sad, someone has died, and initially there is the music shows the sadness, but it's not that sadness which will probably make you get out of the seat and go away, but it's kind of the sadness where the melancholy is kind of like also understated there, which also makes you feel that lump in the throat when you watch something like that, but not moving you to tears. So I think there is this balance that she makes that in the song.
When we presented her in 2009 in Houston, and she's come here 3 times. All 3 times we have presented her, and she did this piece in 2009. I can tell you, there were very few people with dry eyes in the auditorium. Very few. I know that I was crying, quite shamelessly, sitting in front with my eyeliner all over my face. And I turn and look at him, surreptitiously wiping my eyes and turn and look. And happily for me, my neighbors on either side were busily crying and wiping their eyes. So I was like, okay, good. So I guess, we were all equally moved, and I didn't do anything different. Everybody felt that because it was so realistic. And anybody who is a mother
Yes.
can feel this. How would the loss of a child affect you? And I think it was just understanding that, my God, how tremendous this is. It just hit home. And I think people were so moved by the story. It was like it had happened to somebody they knew.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think another thing that her Abhinaya highlights is her honesty of presentation. Like, she's very spontaneous. It's not kind of over rehearsed and therefore a little plateaued. It's very spontaneous and honest every time it comes. That's very hard to do once you've reached, like, if you're a legend like Valli, like you've performed for so long, I keep saying this again and again, the freshness that she brings, it feels like she's
Doing it for the first time.
yeah, she's feeling it at that moment for the first time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like that about her, that there's a lot of spontaneity in her presentation.
Raj, you have anything?
No, I was just gonna go off on what you said earlier about how she started off, with the sadness, but that didn't overtake the whole video because then she went to that Sanchari where she, sort of juxtaposed the emotion with something lighter, and it showed up, the happier memories that she had. And I think that balance really worked in her favor, and it, really contrasted the emotions very well. So you came away with, a greater, deeper feeling of grief.
It's not like one-dimensional, like I'm crying for my
Yeah.
death sin, so I'm going to keep crying the whole composition or something like that.
Right,
So.
right.
Yeah, that's what I think is probably the way she approaches and way she does it. Like you don't feel it overbearing, and suddenly there is this change of the the
I think
music.
that
The music also plays a big role in that, where suddenly the violin interlude is like suddenly such a refreshing delight, and then there is a link between the past and the present, where the hand is brought back in the imagery, and then you enter from the past to the battlefield. So I
Yeah.
guess
again, I think use of suitable ragams like Shubhapantu Varali to, I think, Bilahari. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, very.
So now we'll go to Madhana's question. Madhana, you have a question for Ratnaka?
yes, Akka. So, as someone who practices and extensively performs both Bharatanatyam and Kuchipudi, what do you think a dancer who has learned more than one dance form should do to avoid influences of one art form while performing or practicing in another?
It's like languages. We all speak. Most Indians are multilingual. We speak different languages, and we don't mix up languages. We are able to speak in one language, and dance is a language, and each style is a language it's by itself. When you're confused, you tend to mix everything, but the foundation for whatever you are learning has to be very, very strong. If your foundation is strong, then you build on that foundation and you have built a solid art, style. And when you're thorough with that style, then you won't allow other influences to come into it. And it's then when you, I don't think children should be allowed to learn two styles simultaneously. I didn't do that. I only learned Bharatanatyam and I only performed Bharatanatyam for a long time. 11 years after my Bharatanatyam Arangetram, I did my Kuchipudi Rangapravesham. And I studied Kuchipudi much later, after my Bharatanatyam Arangetram, properly, thoroughly, and spent a long time learning the basics of Kuchipudi. I spent a whole year going twice a day for several hours just learning the basics before actually learning the style itself. And of course, my master used to get mad saying, "You're doing everything like Bharatanatyam." So it took a while before I could understand the body language of Kuchipudi. But I think with maturity, you begin to understand that the body moves so differently for each style. I studied Mohiniyattam just to learn how the body moves. I learned some Kathak for a couple of years. I learned Odissi. I don't perform any of them. I just wanted to know how the body moves and what are the differences in the way you use your arms, legs, and your expressions, even the movement of the head, the neck, everything. There were so subtle nuances, and I just wanted to know what they were. It was purely for my own experience of understanding. And I have performed Mohiniyattam. I learned so many dances in Mohiniyattam. But I don't do anything anymore other than Bharatanatyam and Kuchipudi, which I've spent all my life so far learning, and I think I'm eternally a student. But I don't think there's any danger of mixing them unless, as I said, you're not thorough with either. Then, you're not, I try my Spanish, that's how it sounds. I end up speaking, because every time I try Spanish, after a few words, I end up saying French. So, and then I know, okay, I need to give up. I don't know this language. Why am I trying? I'm in Texas, I should need to know Spanish. But this is what happens. I think if you're not thorough, there is a danger that you will mix, and you will just do, hodgepodge of things. But I think if you are very, very clear of what you're doing, and if you're very thorough in what you're doing, then you know where the lines of demarcation are. Everything is a Lakshmana Rekha. You cannot go do this, because then you will be swerving into the domain of the other. And that depends upon a dancer's capability and maturity. I don't know if it's for everyone. Some people do not like to do two things.
Akka, in the formative years, I agree. Like, I think fundamental is very important. Like, the formative years, if your gurus know what they want from you and they tell you this is how it should be, and a lot of gurus today, they have no idea about what is exactly their territory and what is creeping into other territory and so on. So you have had some exemplary gurus, like KJ Sarasa madam, you were her first student.
Absolutely.
And Vempati Chinna Satyam sir. And like you said, when Vempati Chinna Satyam sir, you were learning from him, he could tell you exactly how to differentiate and keep the spirit of Kuchipudi different. So can you tell us a little about exactly how your experience was with them, and how would he tell you how to differentiate and not to creep in Bharatanatyam and Kuchipudi and so
on? They both had their very distinctive ways of teaching and of driving home the point. They were diametrically opposite to one another. Sarasa teacher had a tremendous sense of humor, and she never yelled and screamed at anybody. But she would put it in such a funny way that you ended up laughing at yourself. But we loved her so much and we respected her so much that we did not want to do anything to incur her, not her anger, but she would look, she would just look displeased. And she wouldn't say much, but we knew that when we saw that look on teachers, so we didn't want that to happen. There was a girl in our class whose Alapadma was like, it looked like she was holding a ball in her hand. And she would never, "Kai neeti veidi, varal neeti veidi," she would keep on saying, "Ennadi pannirke," and the girl would never listen. And she was the tallest in the class, so she was near and in the back near the window. And one day teacher got so upset. She said, "Yendi, அந்த மாமரத்துல இருந்து உனக்கு மாங்காய் போடணும் அவ்வளவு ஆசையா இருந்தா சொன்னா நானே உனக்கு கையில கொண்டு வந்து கொடுப்பேன்." அப்படியே வச்சுட்டு ஜன்னல் கிட்ட என்ன ஆச்சு உனக்கு? And that was it. Everybody burst out into laughter, including that girl. And then she said, "Your teacher, நிஜமாவே வா சார், கேளுங்க, நீங்க எல்லாரும் கேட்டுட்டு இருக்காம நீங்க எத்தனை தானே சொல்லியிருக்கேன் உங்களுக்கு?" சார் ஆமா டீச்சர். Then she said, "பாத்தியா, நான் சொல்லிட்டு இருக்கேன், நீ ஜன்னல் கிட்ட நின்று இப்படி because there was a big மாமரம் right outside the window. And she said, நானே பறிச்சு கொடுப்பேன் நீ கையில, ஏன் இப்படி வச்சிருக்கேன்? And that was it. That girl never, her Alapadma was perfect after that. I think just one example, and then everybody was there. And she said, "Oh, you your teacher?" And she said, "Vendama, asingima irukku vekkadhu." So she didn't, but she was very strict. She said, "Tarayoda tariya ukarano." That meant your aramandi had to be almost like Gurumandi. Tarayoda tariya, almost tarala kalta madri. Tarayoda tariya ukarangadi, asingima irukum. Aramandiya arakoramandiya, I should say.
Arakoramandiya.
And this is what I say to my students. Aramandiya da arakoramandiya, enna பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கீங்க? ஒழுங்கா பண்ணீங்க, இல்ல பண்ணாதீங்க, உட்காருங்க. So it's you வேணா teacher. I mean, she would just say things very like this. There was one grandmother who was constantly interfering in her granddaughter's class. Every time teacher said, "Sarima, kai neetive, naati aramakku, kai ella sariya vekkano, ipdi vekkada nalla illa." And then the grandmother said, "Yendi, kai ipdi vekkadinga teacher." And the next day, "Aramandi, yendi, aramandi la ukar solranga." And finally, teacher just looked at her. I mean, she just very quiet. She just her face changed. She looked and she said, she handed her over the stick. "Mami, நீங்களே தட்டுங்க." "ஐயோ, அது என்னது?" "இல்ல, இந்த குழந்தைக்கு சின்னவ 2 டீச்சர் இருந்தா அதுக்கு மண்டக்குள்ள ஏறாத ஒண்ணும், ஏன்னா ஒன்னே ரொம்ப கஷ்டமா இருக்கு அதுக்கு, நீங்களும் நானும் நம்ம ரெண்டு பேரும் சேர்ந்து சொல்லி கொடுத்தா பாவம், இது நீங்க பேசாம காசு கொடுக்க தேவையில்லை, எனக்கு நீங்க வீட்டுல நீங்க சொல்லி கொடுத்துருக்க." And all this with a very straight face, no change in her expression. We were dying. We were there, all of us were laughing. But this was how she would say. She would just say it very quietly, very dignified way. Master, on the other hand, would get furious and the stick would come flying at anybody and everybody who did not do it. Say, "Hey, that's it, I'll break your legs." Because if somebody didn't sit in Aramandi, there are people who think that Kuchipudi has no Aramandi. I mean, people have come and asked, "Oh, so nice, your Kuchipudi has no Aramandi." I said, you say this to my master, he'll probably just kill you right now. And then he's, "Oh, I don't say." I said, "I don't know about that." I said, we were killed if we didn't sit in Aramandi. Because somebody didn't walk correctly. Kuchipudi walk is very special. Master made everybody walk around. He said, "Keep walking." And then we cursed the person who didn't walk properly, because of that person, the rest of us had to walk forever and ever. We felt like we walked for an hour. And we said, "Oh my God, look at this." And later on, of course, the person was almost lynched. But he was very, very strict. And not one to laugh that easily. He would threaten us with dire consequences if we did not have our arms right or even look. He would tell us, till he made us do the same dance like several times in a day. If somebody didn't do the Pujanatyam right, 10 times they do just Pujanatyam from again and again and again, and everybody was punished. Everybody did it again. Everybody did it. So a dance that I haven't done in the past 10 years, if you ask me to do it, I can get up and do anything that he taught me, because it's just indelibly, it's there. It's stuck in my head. In the middle of the night, I can get up and do whole Bhava Kalapa. I can never forget it in my life, because he taught it like that. He taught it with so much of precision. He was a perfectionist. If one movement was not right, he would not allow anybody in the class to continue to the next one. If one person did one movement wrong, that one movement was done again and again and again and again until he was happy with it. We'd have rehearsals until 2 in the morning for dance dramas. He forgot that we had to go to college and study. For my Kuchipudi Ranga Pravesham, I used to go at 6 in the morning to rehearsals with my social history by Trevelyan sitting there, a big fat book. And I'd say, oh my God, I have a test today. I went to Stella Maris College where they gave tests every day. And I knew that if I failed, I would have to kill myself. And I said, Master, I have a test. You have a Ranga Pravesham, practice. And from 9 o'clock I had to practice, then go to college. From college I had to go straight back to class. And he was such a hard taskmaster. I lost 15 pounds. In those days I was thin. I lost 15 pounds and all my costumes fell off me. The day before, my mother was howling. She said, Ayyo, what to do? Master said, that's good. Just good for her to be slim. It was just, you wouldn't believe that looking at me now, but that's okay. He was very, very, very strict, and taught us with a great sense of understanding the need for perfection. Because he used to tell us that, and when I teach now, subconsciously I've become like my teachers. Because even the words I use are what they said to me. Exactly. And I suddenly catch myself say, whoops, I'm not talking like teacher, I'm talking like master. Because he would say, he didn't know much English, and then if we did a didite, and and the third one was stopped here, I said, Ayyo, finishing ledu. Finishing ledu means that you didn't complete the movement. And he couldn't stand it if a movement was not complete. Why, you did only half of it, what happened to this? So he would make us do again and again. And I think that was a lesson, a very important lesson, that if you don't repeat something, then it doesn't stay in your mind. And if it doesn't stay in your mind, what comes out is very imperfect. So I think, and I learned from really great teachers who gave themselves to us, it was unstinted teaching on their part. My Sarasa became almost like a mother to me. I used to spend weekends at her place. I just adored her, and I would do anything for my teacher. I lost both my gurus this year.
Yeah, I was about to say that. It's a major loss to the dance world.
Yeah, both of them.
Personally, it was terrible. Losing both of them the same year. I really took it very badly because I was alone upstairs. My husband had a video assignment. I was all alone in the house when I got the call at midnight. And I cried the entire night. I could not believe. I said, oh my God, it's like someone being orphaned, you're lost. It's like you're there like your mother and father. And it is very difficult. And then I felt a joy in the sense that I felt a great joy that I had learned from two people whose loss I could mourn so much, because I live now at a time that I don't understand when people change teachers like clothes.
Right.
And I don't belong to this generation. I am very old-fashioned in that a guru is for life, and you learn. That is a real guru. They are not just teachers. To me, they were not teachers. They were gurus. What knowledge they have given me. And I don't know if you can ever get a guru if you keep on changing, because they're just teachers. You're just changing teachers. Will you ever find a guru? And if you don't find a guru, what are you learning? Are you learning just the dance mechanically? Mm-hmm. Are you getting anything more than just the dance? What really are you learning? Ultimately, what is the purpose of even pursuing this? I get very concerned sometimes about this. I'm very grateful that 98% of my students are those that have been studying with me forever, and I'm still very close to them. There are those that switch and then switch and switch again. And then I took it badly in the beginning, thinking that it's like an insult, and I felt hurt. Now I think, oh my God, okay, good. Hopefully they'll find somebody better, and then they're happy with them. But we are not meant to be together. So.
And I think you're performing in Krishna Gana Sabha to mark the first year anniversary of Guru KJ Sarasa's passing away this season, is that right?
It's on the same day, on January 2nd. I'm doing a tribute to my teacher. I'm reviving some of the very old pieces that she had taught me that I had done for my Arattarangetram in 1956. I don't know if your parents were born then, in 56. And some of the other songs that she had actually choreographed for me over a period of years. And, actually, this was a Vaduvu tradition because, Sarasa is Vaduvu Ramaipalla's student and we all follow that tradition. The Varnam that I did was Pashurams strung together, divided by Jatis, because, age commensurate. When I was 9. And at 9, you cannot do one Mohamana or, Maravicha or something, they just don't suit a 9-year-old. So these Pashurams, Pachimavali Polmeni was perfect because a kid can describe Krishna enthusiastically, but not asking, not talking about love because
yeah, Shringara Rasa maybe overbearing for the kid that they
yeah. Not until they're teenagers, I don't think they can emote properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on the 3rd, I'm doing a tribute to my master, to Satyam master, and Bharatanatyam. So I'm doing Bharatanatyam. After a long time, I'm doing Bharatanatyam in Krishna Gana Sabha. And Kuchipudi at Bharatanatyam. Hopefully, I won't mix the two. If you're all coming there, you can see it. Come to both, and then you put it on YouTube. That's not to mix them up.
Yeah, we won't do that. Don't worry.
No, I don't mix them up. I'm happy to say.